Hey! Welcome to our channel. Hi, I'm Jhon.
Hi, I'm Trish.
And today, we're gonna talk about Brexit.
So what's Brexit?
Brexit, is it a brittle extinguisher or... I don't know. Sorry.
So, if you're interested, let's hop into the video.
Come on. The issue of Brexit has been international since 2016.
Up to today, the issue has been affecting UK and EU relations in all aspects.
Today, let's dive deeper into the issue of Brexit as we look at it in the liberalist point of view.
What is Brexit? Brexit, or British exit, refers to the UK leaving the EU.
Why is the UK leaving? A public vote or referendum was held on Thursday, June 23, 2016 to decide whether the UK should leave or remain. Leave won by 52% to 48%. The referendum turnout was very high at 72%, with more than 30 million people voting. 17.4 million people opting for Brexit.
Why hasn't Brexit happened yet? Brexit was originally due to happen on March 29, 2019. That was 2 years after then Prime Minister Theresa May triggered Article 50, the formal process to leave and kick off negotiations. Under Mrs. May, the deadline was delayed twice after MPs rejected her Brexit deal, eventually pushing it to October 31. Despite negotiating a revised deal, Prime Minister Boris Johnson will miss the latest deadline. That's because the EU has agreed to a further extension until January 31, 2019. The latest extension came after MPs failed to pass the new Brexit deal into law.
Why did Parliament reject Theresa May's Brexit deal? The main restricting point for many Conservative members of the Parliament, the Democratic Unionist Party, was the backstop. This was designed to ensure there would be no border posts or barriers between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland after Brexit. If it had been needed, the backstop would have kept the UK in a close trading relationship with the EU and avoided checks altogether. But many MPs were critical. They said if the backstop was used, the UK could be trapped in it for years. This would prevent the country from striking trade deals with other countries.
What is the new Brexit deal? After taking over as Prime Minister in July 2019, Mr. Johnson has renegotiated parts of the existing deal. The backstop has been replaced with new customs agreements. Once they take effect, the UK would be able to sign and implement its own trade agreements with countries around the world. The revised plan effectively creates a customs and regulatory border between Northern Ireland and Great Britain. This means some goods entering Northern Ireland from Great Britain would have to pay EU import taxes, known as tariffs. These would be refunded if goods remain in Northern Ireland. As for the rest of the deal, much remains largely unchanged from the one negotiated by Mrs. May. Known as the Withdrawal Agreement, it includes the rights of EU citizens in the UK and British citizens in the EU, how much money the UK is to pay the EU, initially thought to be 39 billion euros. There are also changes to the political declarations which sets out plans for the long-term relationship between the UK and the EU. It says this would be based on a free trade agreement.
Why hasn't the new Brexit bill been approved? Mr. Johnson attempted to put his revised deal to Parliament on October 19. However, the vote did not go ahead. MPs chose to postpone a vote on the deal until legislation needed to turn the withdrawal agreement into UK laws was completed. It meant Mr. Johnson had to send a letter to the EU to ask for another Brexit delay. EU leaders agreed to the request, meaning that Brexit will be pushed back to January 31. The UK could leave before the new deadline if a deal is approved by Parliament. While the Brexit legislation has passed the first hurdle in Parliament, the government has currently paused its passage.
What about an early election? Mr. Johnson wants a general election in the hope of winning more conservative seats, making a Brexit deal easier to pass. But in order to hold an election, at least 2/3 of all MP must agree to one. Despite 3 attempts, Mr. Johnson has so far failed to secure enough support. However, a 4th attempt may well succeed after Labour said it would back a December election following the latest Brexit extension.
Will a no-deal Brexit causes disruption? If the UK leaves without a deal, the EU will start carrying out checks on British goods. That is because the UK will leave the customs union and single market overnight. This could lead to delays at ports such as Dover. Some fear this could lead to traffic bottlenecks, disruption to supply routes, and damage to the economy. Combined with possible sharp falls in the pound, the price and availability of some foods could be affected. There are also concerns over potential shortage of medicines. Mr. Johnson has tried to calm such fears by announcing an €2.1 billion of funding to prepare for a possible no-deal outcome. Many Brexit supporters say it is hard to accurately predict what will happen or believe any economic disruption will be short-term and minor. But most economists and business groups believe no deal would lead to economic harm. In the view of liberalism, Brexit is very complex to look at. European Union has been an international organizations that promote peace, cooperation, and economic interdependence, thus supporting the ideas of commercial and social liberalism in a global perspective. However, in a national perspective, Brexit is a product of the conception of a man's freedom and rationality and exercising free choice. However, different type of liberalists will see this issue in different perspectives.
Liberalists concerned with a bigger scope, global scene, will view Brexit as a bad thing, especially that economic interdependence will be somehow disrupted and may cause problems in the future. Also, the relations of EU and UK in general will not be the same if ever there would be a no-Brexit deal. Martin Kettle, a journalist from The Guardian, sees Brexit as a revolt against liberalism. He explained that the era we live in is a post-liberal era, as May is not an economic liberal nor a social liberal, and seems like liberalism is not in her thinking and policy making.